1. Louis B. Mayer. When one surveys the towering architects of classic Hollywood, Louis B. Mayer's name stands out in bold relief. Born in the Russian Empire and raised under modest circumstances in Canada, Mayer's early years were marked by hard work in the family's scrap metal business. Yet, he was destined for a grander stage. His foray into the film world began with a small Nickelodeon in Massachusetts, which soon expanded into a chain of theaters. Mayer's keen instincts for audience tastes and his relentless drive propelled him to co-found Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer in 1924. Under his leadership, MGM became a powerhouse, boasting more stars than there are in heaven. Mayer's exacting standards and devotion to glamorous, escapist fare shaped the studio's style and Hollywood's broader image. Through lavish productions and diligent nurturing of talent, he championed performers like Clark Gable, Judy Garland, and Greta Garbo. In doing so, he forever changed cinema's horizons. 2. Theda Bara. A mesmerizing figure of the silent screen, Theda Bara blazed into Hollywood's consciousness as cinema's original vamp. Born Theodosia Burr Goodman in Cincinnati to a Jewish family, she grew up with a flair for theatrics that foreshadowed her future stardom. Her stage name was a clever invention. Promoted as an exotic persona concocted by studio publicists, it fused the mystique of her heritage with an otherworldly allure. Bara's breakthrough came in 1915 with A Fool There Was, where her smoldering gaze and bold costumes epitomized a new kind of on-screen seduction. She quickly became one of Fox Studios' biggest stars, embodying femme fatales in dozens of features. Though many of her films were lost to history due to nitrate deterioration, her impact remains. Bara expanded the possibilities for actresses, challenging social norms by portraying powerful, seductive women. 3. Al Jolson. Long before rock idols and pop superstars, Al Jolson was hailed as the world's greatest entertainer. Born Asa Joelson in what is now Lithuania, he immigrated with his Jewish family to the United States as a child. His undeniable passion for singing and ability to captivate audiences blossomed on vaudeville stages, where he showcased an energetic style that blended comedic banter with heartfelt ballads. Jolson's place in film history was cemented with The Jazz Singer, the groundbreaking talkie that revolutionized cinema by introducing synchronized sound. Beyond his signature blackface performances, which reflect both the era's racial insensitivities and a complex tradition of minstrelsy, Jolson's sheer theatrical force left a towering legacy. He gave Broadway some of its most electrifying moments, popularized enduring songs like Swanee, and embraced the new medium of radio. 4. Michael Curtiz. Hungarian-born Michael Curtiz was instrumental in crafting several of the Golden Age's most revered classics. Born Mano Kertes Kaminer to a Jewish family in Budapest, he absorbed the excitement of early European cinema before making his way to Hollywood in the 1920s. Curtiz brought with him a flair for visual storytelling, dynamic camera work, and a remarkable versatility across genres. He directed everything from swashbuckling adventures like Captain Blood to beloved musical epics like Yankee Doodle Dandy. Yet, it is Casablanca that remains his crowning glory, a timeless romantic drama brimming with political tension and unforgettable dialogue. Though he was known for demanding sets and fractious relationships with cast members, Curtiz's insistence on excellence produced luminous results. 5. Chico Marx. Leonard Chico. Marx, the eldest performing Marx brother, brought a mischievous twinkle and a phony Italian accent to the family act, endearing him to fans everywhere. Born in New York to Sam and Minnie Marx, devout Jewish immigrants from Europe, Chico grew up in a home where vaudeville chatter blended with everyday conversation. Chico's early passion for piano, combined with a taste for gambling, shaped his breezy stage persona. Whether on Broadway or in Hollywood films like Duck Soup and A Night at the Opera, Chico's sly one-liners and comedic interplay with his brothers became legendary. His pseudo-Italian persona, complete with comedic malapropisms, was a highlight of the group's vaudeville-inspired sketches. Off-screen, Chico's recklessness with money contrasted sharply with his comedic brilliance. Sophie Tucker. Dubbed the last of the Red Hot Mamas, Sophie Tucker reigned as one of vaudeville's boldest voices. Born Sonia Kalish in what is now Ukraine, she was whisked away to Boston as a child, part of the larger wave of Jewish immigration at the turn of the century. Her career began humbly. She performed for tips while working in her family's kosher restaurant. But her big, brassy voice and no-nonsense comedic timing soon lit up vaudeville circuits. Audiences adored her gutsy persona, which challenged sixth conventions around femininity, age, and body image. As a singer, she belted out bawdy numbers with gusto, never afraid to poke fun at herself or society. Alongside comedic legends like Fanny Brice, Tucker helped pave the way for female comics who blend humor with unabashed personality. 7th, Sophie Tucker. On the theater stage and in early sound films, Sophie Tucker emerged as a singular personality who defied easy categorization. Though primarily known as a singer, she also ventured into acting roles that showcased her larger-than-life charisma. In productions like Honky Tonk, Tucker's dynamic presence proved she could handle both comedic and dramatic moments with flair. Her background, rooted in a Jewish immigrant family that valued tenacity, shaped her on-stage persona. She often integrated anecdotes. 7. From her own life into her performances, connecting deeply with audiences. Tucker's earthy humor, combined with her powerful contralto voice, made her a sought-after performer for Broadway revues and Hollywood features. Even in an industry with shifting standards, Tucker's refusal to adhere to typical beauty norms and polite, demure femininity set her apart. 8th, Harpo Marx. Harpo Marx, born Adolf Marx, was the silent trickster of the famed Marx brothers, yet his comedic statements were anything but quiet. With tousled curls, a beatific grin, and a harp always in tow, he stole scenes through pantomime, irreverent pranks, and sweet, expressive musicianship. Raised in a Jewish household that appreciated entertainment, Harpo was thrust onto the vaudeville stage alongside his siblings, quickly discovering his gift for physical comedy. His silent persona was not merely a gimmick. Harpo found an inventive way to communicate that transcended language barriers. Whether chasing unsuspecting bystanders with scissors or producing outlandish props from his voluminous coat, he radiated childlike wonder. Films such as Horse Feathers and Duck Soup showcased Harpo's ability to generate chaos with a quick sleight of hand or an innocent grin. 9th, Irving Berlin. Few songwriters have shaped the American musical landscape like Irving Berlin. Born Israel Balin in Imperial Russia, he fled persecution with his family and found a new home in New York's Lower East Side. The hustle and bustle of that diverse community ignited Berlin's passion for music. Self-taught on the piano, he began penning tunes that captured the spirit of the American dream. Alexander's Ragtime Band, White Christmas, and God Bless America soon became anthems woven into the cultural tapestry. Berlin's gift was a knack for simplicity and emotional resonance. His melodies were catchy, and his lyrics spoke directly to universal feelings of love, patriotism, and holiday cheer. His Jewish immigrant background informed an unwavering belief in America's promise, which found voice in his compositions. Desati Groucho Marx. Renowned for his razor-sharp wit, bushy eyebrows, and ever-present cigar, Groucho Marx was the most verbal of the iconic Marx brothers. Born Julius Henry Marx to Jewish immigrants in New York, Groucho developed a stage presence that married rapid-fire wisecracks with an unapologetically sardonic edge. Whether in vaudeville sketches or classic comedies like Duck Soup and Animal Crackers, Groucho delivered lines that became instant catchphrases. "I never forget a face, but in your case, I'll make an exception." His comedic persona, complete with grease paint mustache, exuded a kind of acerbic charm that made him both the antagonist and hero in the family's routines. Offstage, Groucho's intellect and love of language shone in radio and television, particularly in the quiz show You Bet Your Life. 11. Fanny Brice. If there was ever a performer who defined the phrase larger than life, it was Fanny Brice. Born Theda Bara to Jewish saloon owners in Manhattan, Brice's comedic gift surfaced early in life. She joined the legendary Ziegfeld Follies in 1910, where she dazzled audiences with her comedic timing and heartfelt ballads. Equally adept at broad, slapstick humor and soulful singing, Brice became an instant star. Her stage act was peppered with self-deprecating jokes, brassy comedic routines, and caricatures that parodied everyday life. Offstage, she showed depth and complexity, exemplified by her iconic radio persona, Baby Snooks, which balanced childish glee with grown-up sarcasm. Brice's personal life was a roller coaster of marriages and heartbreak, yet her resilience shone through. 12th, Sam Jaffe. Sam Jaffe's career traversed the realms of stage, cinema, and television with remarkable grace. Born in New York to a Jewish family, he was academically gifted, studying engineering and later mathematics before embracing acting. His intellectual rigor and studious nature lent depth to the roles he portrayed, whether as the wise High Lama in Lost Horizon or the cagey Doc Riedenschneider in The Asphalt Jungle. Jaffe also brought a distinctive gravitas to religious and historical epics, seamlessly adapting to roles that required both physical presence and moral conviction. Beyond Hollywood, he championed dramatic arts, teaching and mentoring emerging talents. His Jewish background grounded him in a tradition that prized learning and cultural continuity, qualities that infused his performances with a certain earnestness. 13th, Jack Warner. The youngest of the four Warner brothers, Jack Warner became the outspoken and relentless force at the helm of Warner Brothers Studios. Born Jacob Warner in London, Ontario, to Polish-Jewish immigrants, he spent his formative years in Ohio, selling soap for pocket change before diving into movie exhibition. Alongside his brothers, Harry, Albert, and Sam, Jack co-founded Warner. 13th Brothers in 1923. He displayed a knack for spotting stories that resonated with Depression-era audiences, greenlighting gritty gangster films, backstage musicals, and socially conscious dramas. Under his watch, the studio broke new ground with the release of The Jazz Singer, marking the dawn of talking pictures. Although his management style was notorious, Jack Warner propelled the studio to become a dominant force. By championing tough, streetwise stars like James Cagney, Edward G. 14. Edward G. Robinson. Born Emanuel Goldenberg in Bucharest, Romania, Edward G. Robinson immigrated to the United States as a boy and grew up in New York's teeming Lower East Side. Early exposure to Yiddish theater piqued his interest in acting, leading him to refine his skills at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. Robinson's breakthrough came with the landmark gangster film Little Caesar, where his portrayal of the ruthless Rico Bandello helped define the genre. Though often cast as a tough guy, He brought complexity and nuance to his roles, whether playing detectives, psychiatrists, or mild-mannered clerks in films like Double Indemnity and Scarlet Street. Outside the spotlight, Robinson was an avid art collector, passionately investing in a private collection that reflected his refined cultural tastes. 15. Jack Benny. Jack Benny, born Benjamin Kubelski in Chicago to Eastern European Jewish immigrants, became an icon of American comedy through a persona defined by frugality and deadpan timing. His signature routine, perfected on radio and television, revolved around comedic pauses, sarcastic barbs, and an ever-present violin. Audiences adored the meta-humor. Benny poked fun at himself, his cheapness, his questionable violin skills, and his perpetual age of 39. Off the stage, however, he was known as generous and gracious to colleagues. His comedic style was slow burn, allowing silence to build anticipation before the punchline. He also pioneered the use of running gags that carried over from week to week, establishing new norms for situational comedy. Working alongside stars like Mary Livingstone, Rochester, and others, Benny laid the groundwork for modern sitcoms. 16. Paul Muni. Few actors of Hollywood's golden age could match Paul Muni's chameleonic intensity. Born Friedrich Mechelem Meyer Weisenfreund in Lemberg, Muni emigrated with his Jewish family to the United States, immersing himself in Yiddish theater from a young age. This early training honed his capacity for transformation. He could slip seamlessly into roles of scientists, criminals, or historical figures. Renowned for preparing meticulously, Muni won acclaim for films like Scarface, The Story of Louis Pasteur, and The Life of Émile Zola. He carved a niche as Hollywood's go-to actor for biographical dramas, unveiling the emotional core of each character with rare sensitivity. His unwavering dedication to authenticity often led him to request rewrites or push for heightened realism. 17th, Shemp Howard. Shemp Howard, born Samuel Horwitz into a Jewish family in Brooklyn, was one of the original members of the legendary Three Stooges. His comedic style blended slapstick with a frenetic energy all his own. Known for his improvised lines and offbeat facial expressions, Shemp was a versatile performer who had already made a name for himself in vaudeville and short films before rejoining the Stooges in 1946. When his younger brother Curly suffered a stroke, Shemp stepped back into the trio, bringing a seasoned comedic sensibility. Classic shorts like Brideless Groom showcased his penchant for exasperated yelps and wide-eyed double takes. Though Shemp's tenure is sometimes overshadowed by Curly's iconic image, he contributed significantly to the group's success, sustaining the franchise through a turbulent period. 18 Yip Harburg. Edgar Yipsel Yip Harburg was the poetic voice behind some of America's most cherished songs. Born in New York to Russian Jewish immigrants, he grew up in a culturally vibrant neighborhood that fueled his imagination. A chance partnership with composer Jay Gorney led to his first hit, the Depression-era anthem, Brother, Can You Spare a Dime? Harburg's knack for clever wordplay, social commentary, and enduring optimism shone through in his prolific songwriting. He is best remembered for penning the lyrics to Over the Rainbow from the 1939 classic The Wizard of Oz, a song that ranks among the greatest in film history. His leftist political leanings and outspoken stance on social justice often put him at odds with Hollywood's more conservative figures, particularly during the Blacklist era. Yet, Harburg's belief in dreaming of a better world found expression in his lyrics, which continue to inspire hope and wonder for audiences today. George Burns. George Burns, born Nathan Birnbaum in New York City, enjoyed one of the longest show business careers ever recorded. 19. He began as a young performer in vaudeville alongside his many siblings, all while juggling odd jobs to support his family of Jewish immigrants. Burns's big break arrived when he paired with Gracie Allen, a comedic genius whose sweet, ditzy character made her the perfect foil for Burns's dry wit. Together, they soared on radio, film, and television, becoming America's beloved comedic duo. After Allen's passing, Burns reinvented himself, extending his career well into his 90s, often poking fun at his age and delivering jokes with an ever-present cigar. Known for his impeccable timing, Burns won an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor in The Sunshine Boys. 20th Bud Abbott. Bud Abbott was the fast-talking, straight-man half of the legendary duo Abbott and Costello. Born William Alexander Abbott to a family steeped in show business, his parents worked in the circus. He was introduced early to variety entertainment. Although not Jewish himself, Abbott often performed alongside Jewish comedians and absorbed a comedic style that mixed vaudeville traditions with a fresh, rapid-fire wit. Partnering with Lou Costello, he perfected the art of set-up in comedic routines. Their most famous sketch, Who's on First, remains an iconic piece of American humor, reliant on clever wordplay and breakneck timing. While Costello's persona was the bumbling innocent, Abbott anchored the act by maintaining a crisp rhythm. Offstage, he was known to be business-savvy, orchestrating deals that placed the duo in top billing across radio, film, and television. 21st, Judith Anderson. A commanding presence on stage and screen, Dame Judith Anderson was hailed as one of the greatest classical actresses of the 20th century. Born Frances Margaret Anderson in Australia, she emigrated to the United States to pursue theatrical opportunities, quickly earning a reputation for her electrifying portrayals of complex characters. While not born into a Jewish family, Anderson's collaborations with Jewish directors, producers, and peers throughout Hollywood's golden age immersed her in the multicultural artistry that defined that era. She was best known for her chilling performance as Mrs. Danvers in Alfred Hitchcock's Rebecca, a role that earned her an Academy Award nomination. Anderson also returned often to the stage, delivering spellbinding interpretations of Shakespearean heroines and villains. 22nd, Moe Howard. Moe Howard, born Moses Harry Horwitz, was the indomitable leader of the Three Stooges. Raised in Brooklyn's Jewish community, Moe cut his teeth on vaudeville stages with his brothers Curly and Shemp, along with their comedic partner Larry Fine. Recognized by his bowl-cut hair and quick-tempered persona, Moe often played the boss stooge, orchestrating much of the slapstick mayhem. Beneath the exaggerated eye pokes and face slaps, he was a comedic craftsman who oversaw script development and gag creation. This behind-the-scenes involvement ensured the Stooges' consistency, even as their lineup changed. Moe's lasting influence can be felt in every short film that combined physical gags with comedic wordplay. He also navigated the trio's transition from vaudeville to talkies, guiding them to become icons of short-subject comedy. 23rd, George Gershwin. A visionary composer who fused classical traditions with the rhythms of jazz, George Gershwin was born Jacob Gershwin in Brooklyn to Russian Jewish immigrants. From a young age, he showed exceptional musical talent, teaching himself piano by ear and voraciously consuming all genres, from Tin Pan Alley tunes to European symphonies. By his early 20s, he was a rising star on Broadway, crafting innovative musicals that teamed him with lyricist brother Ira Gershwin. Rhapsody in Blue solidified his reputation as a groundbreaking composer, blending the spontaneity of jazz with symphonic form. Works like An American in Paris and the folk opera Porgy and Bess further highlighted his range, weaving African-American musical idioms into classical structure. Though his life was cut tragically short at 38, Gershwin left a body of work that redefined American music. 24th, Melvyn Douglas. Melvyn Douglas's suave charm and gentle demeanor made him one of Hollywood's most enduring leading men. Born Melvyn Edward Hesselberg in Macon, Georgia, to a Jewish father and a Protestant mother, he navigated multiple cultural influences that would inform his later roles. Douglas rose to prominence in the 1930s, often starring opposite iconic actresses like Greta Garbo in Ninotchka and Irene Dunne in Theodora Goes Wild. He excelled at playing sophisticated, urbane gentlemen, characters who balanced wit with a certain emotional depth. Beyond his screen persona, Douglas was politically active, championing anti-fascist causes during World War II and supporting progressive movements. In the twilight of his career, he took on mature roles that showcased a reflective, poignant 24th dimension, earning Academy Awards for HUD and Being There. 25th, Zeppo Marx. Often labeled the straight man among the zany Marx brothers, Zeppo Marx, born Herbert Manfred Marx, deserves far more credit than he typically receives. Hailing from the same Jewish family that produced Chico, Harpo, and Groucho, Zeppo brought a smoother style to the Klan's chaotic brand of comedy. While his brothers were wacky and overtly comedic, Zeppo grounded their acts, delivering lines with understated wit and functioning as a romantic lead on occasion. He was also an adept businessman and inventor, eventually leaving the group to pursue successful ventures in engineering. Despite leaving the Marx Brothers act in the early 1930s, his contributions to iconic films like Duck Soup remain a vital part of the ensemble's chemistry. Offstage, he secured patents for various inventions, including a watch that monitored pulse rate. 26th, Larry Fine. Larry Fine, born Louis Feinberg in Philadelphia, was the frizzy-haired middleman of the Three Stooges. With his violin skills and impeccable sense of timing, Larry injected a buoyant absurdity that helped balance Moe's aggression and Curly or Shemp's off-the-wall antics. Coming from a Jewish family, Larry's youth was marked by an accident with acid that permanently damaged his arm. Violin lessons were prescribed as therapy. This twist of fate steered him toward performing, where he met his future comedy partners on the vaudeville circuit. Though he rarely dominated a scene, Larry's subtlety and reactive humor were indispensable. He excelled at playing the bewildered foil in the trio's elaborate pratfalls and comedic misunderstandings. He also brought a measured silliness that tempered Moe's bossiness. 27th, Ralph Richardson. Sir Ralph Richardson stood among the greatest English stage actors of his generation, an accolade reflected in his transition to film. Although not of Jewish heritage, Richardson inhabited a Hollywood brimming with Jewish immigrants, creative minds who admired his Shakespearean pedigree and nuanced performances. From regal characters in period dramas to everyday men grappling with moral quandaries, Richardson's versatility was evident in films like The Fallen Idol and Dr. Zhivago. His style, marked by a distinctive voice and subtle mannerisms, often lent an understated gravitas to each role. He deftly balanced the British theatrical tradition with the more naturalistic tone favored in American cinema during Hollywood's golden age. Whether on stage or screen, Richardson's devotion to character and craft resonated with directors searching for depth. 28th, William Wyler. The extraordinary William Wyler stands among the most honored directors in Academy Award history. Born Wilhelm Wyler in Mulhouse into a Swiss-German Jewish family, he emigrated to America under the mentorship of Universal Studios founder Karl Laemmle, a distant relative. Wyler's early experiences in silent film instilled in him a keen visual sense and a perfectionist streak that shaped his directorial approach. Known for pushing actors to their emotional limits, he coaxed powerful performances that led to numerous Oscars for his stars. Masterpieces like Mrs. Miniver, The Best Years of Our Lives, and Ben-Hur showcased his range, from intimate domestic dramas to colossal historical epics. Wyler's meticulous attention to detail often meant extensive retakes, earning him the nickname 40-Take Wyler. 29th, Curly Howard. The irrepressible Curly Howard was born Jerome Lester Horwitz in Brooklyn, the youngest performing Howard brother in the Three Stooges. Easily recognized by his shaved head, high-pitched voice, and silly catchphrases like "Nyuk, Nyuk, Nyuk," Curly brought a childlike spirit to the group's antics. Raised in a Jewish household that prized humor, Curly's comedic gifts manifested in physical slapstick, his spins, twirls, and howls of delight. Despite his large frame, he moved with surprising agility, conveying innocence and mischief in equal measure. When the camera rolled, Curly's spontaneity and improvisation could steal the scene, whether messing with Moe's hair or engaging in outrageous wordplay. Tragically, health problems curtailed his career, and he exited the trio in the mid-1940s due to a series of strokes. Tretio, Peter Lorre. With bulging eyes, a sinister whisper, and a face seemingly crafted for noir's deep shadows, Peter Lorre became an icon of Hollywood's golden age. Born Laszlo Lowenstein to a Jewish family in Austria-Hungary, he initially made his mark in German expressionist cinema, especially as the child murderer in Fritz Lang's M. Fleeing Nazi rule, Lorre landed in Hollywood, where his distinct features and uneasy charm were put to unforgettable use. Roles in The Maltese Falcon and Casablanca solidified his standing as an enigmatic presence who could convey both cunning villainy and pitiful vulnerability. Directors valued. 30. His ability to balance horror with dark humor, ensuring that even minor appearances felt vital. Off-screen, Lorre was witty and introspective, often railing against the typecasting that plagued him. 31st, Otto Preminger. An Austrian émigré of Jewish descent, Otto Preminger arrived in Hollywood determined to test and reshape cinema's boundaries. Born in Bukovina, he directed theater in Vienna before producer Joseph Schenck invited him to the United States. Preminger soon earned a reputation for unflinching realism and bold subject matter. He tackled stories that major studios deemed too controversial, such as The Moon is Blue, which sparked debate over censorship, and Anatomy of a Murder, notable for its frank discussion of rape and morality. Known for his authoritarian style, he engaged in public feuds with stars yet extracted nuanced performances. Collaborating with Jewish composers like Saul Bass for groundbreaking title sequences, Preminger expanded the definition of cinematic artistry. 32. Billy Wilder. Brilliantly blending wit, cynicism, and human vulnerability, Billy Wilder stands as one of the most influential storytellers in film history. Born Samuel Wilder to a Jewish family in Austria, he studied law before journalism, and script writing drew him to Berlin's vibrant film scene. Fleeing the Nazi rise to power, Wilder found refuge in Hollywood, where his sharp, incisive style soon captivated audiences. His filmography boasts a remarkable range. Romantic comedies like The 7-Year Itch, biting satires like Sunset Boulevard, and gripping dramas like Double Indemnity. Wilder's scripts were often co-written with partners like Charles Brackett and I.A.L. Diamond, showcasing a mastery of dialogue laced with irony. Some Like It Hot, featuring cross-dressing hijinks and gangster intrigue, pushed the boundaries of the production code. 33rd, Lou Costello. Beloved for his plump figure, high-pitched whine, and childlike innocence, Lou Costello redefined comedic chemistry as half of Abbott and Costello. Born Louis Francis Cristillo in Paterson, New Jersey, to an Italian family, he absorbed slapstick humor from silent film stars like Charlie Chaplin. Teaming with Bud Abbott in the 1930s, Costello took on the role of the well-meaning bumbler, providing a hilarious contrast to Abbott's straight man. Their comedic masterpiece, Who's on First, remains an enduring example of verbal gymnastics. Despite their Catholic and non-Jewish backgrounds, the duo regularly collaborated with Jewish producers, writers, and studio executives, embodying the cultural melting pot that defined Hollywood. During World War II, Costello entertained troops and donated to war relief efforts. Off-screen, he endured personal tragedies, including the loss of a child, yet never lost his comedic spark. 34th, Mel Blanc. The phrase, "man of 1,000 voices," rings no truer than with Mel Blanc. Born Melvyn Jerome Blanc to a Jewish family in San Francisco, he adopted the spelling Blanc as he pursued a career in radio and voice acting. Blanc's gift was unparalleled versatility. From the stuttering Porky Pig to the wisecracking Bugs Bunny, he breathed life into the iconic characters of Warner Brothers' Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies. Though these cartoons were short subjects, Blanc's artistry elevated them, injecting humor, pathos, and distinctive vocal quirks. His comedic timing and ability to juggle multiple roles in a single scene remain legendary. Beyond Warner Brothers Studios, he voiced Barney Rubble in The Flintstones and numerous Hanna-Barbera characters, leaving an indelible stamp on animation. Few have matched his sheer breadth of vocal capability. 35th, Michael Redgrave. Michael Redgrave personified the prestige of British theatre, bringing that cachet to Hollywood during cinema's golden age. Although not Jewish, he intersected with a film industry heavily influenced by Jewish entrepreneurs and creative figures, contributing to a body of work that bridged transatlantic tastes. Redgrave emerged from a distinguished theatrical lineage, studying at Cambridge before launching a notable stage career. His transition to film saw him star in classics such as Alfred Hitchcock's The Lady Vanishes and the wartime drama The Way to the Stars. Known for a thoughtful, dignified approach, Redgrave tackled roles that demanded both intellectual depth and emotional resonance. He was equally at home in Shakespearean productions, as he was in modern thrillers. 36. Milton Berle. If television had a founding father, it would undoubtedly be Milton Berle, often dubbed Mr. Television. Born Mendel Berlinger in Harlem to a Jewish family, Berle began performing as a child in silent films and vaudeville. He transitioned seamlessly to radio, honing a comedy style that was brash, fast-paced, and peppered with zingers. When television became a mass medium in the late 1940s, Berle hosted Texaco Star Theater, causing Americans to 36th flock to TV sets in droves. His outlandish costumes, slapstick sketches, and on-air antics earned him unprecedented ratings, making him a household name. Known for comedic thievery, he once joked that he never stole a joke he didn't like. Berle championed a format that merged vaudeville traditions with the immediacy of live television. He also set the stage for future variety show hosts. 37. Paul Henreid. Paul Henreid left an indelible mark on romantic cinema, most famously as the gallant Victor Laszlo in Casablanca. Born Paul Georg Julius Freiherr von Henried in Trieste, Henreid was of mixed heritage, with a Catholic father of aristocratic descent and a mother from a wealthy Jewish family. This blend of backgrounds offered Henreid a unique perspective, especially in an industry shaped by Jewish émigrés. He established himself as a refined leading man, delivering performances that exuded a poised yet empathetic masculinity. Beyond Casablanca, Hen Reed's portrayal of Jerry in Now Voyager, opposite Bette Davis, remains a hallmark of romantic drama. He later ventured into directing, helming episodes of popular TV series. 38th, Benny Goodman. Rightly crowned the King of Swing, Benny Goodman revolutionized American music by bridging jazz, big band arrangements, and concert hall respectability. Born into a poor Jewish family in Chicago, Goodman learned clarinet at a local synagogue's music program, quickly revealing a prodigious talent. During the 1930s, he led orchestras that spotlighted pioneering African-American musicians like Teddy Wilson and Lionel Hampton, pushing racial barriers long before it was fashionable. Goodman's triumphant 1938 concert at Carnegie Hall cemented jazz as a sophisticated art form. Hollywood beckoned, featuring him and his band in films like Hollywood Hotel and The Gang's All Here. Though overshadowed by comedic or dramatic stars, Goodman's cameo appearances gave film audiences a taste of his unparalleled musicianship. 39. Max Baer. Max Baer's life story was a collision of athletic prowess, showbiz flair, and Jewish identity. Born in Omaha, Nebraska, to a mixed-faith family, his father was Jewish, and his mother was of Scots-Irish descent. Baer was exposed to hard physical labor on his family's ranch. His towering stature and immense strength led him to boxing, where he became world heavyweight champion in 1934. Baer's flamboyant style and knockout power earned him a charismatic presence in and out of the ring. His Jewish background also brought an edge to some of his fights, particularly against German opponents during the Nazi era. Transitioning to Hollywood, he appeared in comedies and dramas, leveraging his brawny persona for light-hearted roles. Baer's easygoing charm and comedic timing surprised audiences who only knew him as a pugilist. 40th, Artie Shaw. Artie Shaw, born Arthur Jacob Arshosky in New York City to Jewish immigrant parents, was an orchestral innovator who rivaled even Benny Goodman in the swing era. A self-taught clarinet prodigy, Shaw possessed a restless intellect and an insatiable appetite for musical exploration. His breakout came with Begin the Beguine in 1938, a record that propelled him to stardom. Yet, Shaw chafed against fame, famously disbanding his orchestra several times to pursue new directions or to escape the demands of touring. He dabbled in classical repertoire, even writing short stories and reflecting on society's complexities. Hollywood beckoned. Shaw appeared in films like Second Chorus, though he remained ambivalent about show business. Offstage, his personal life was notoriously colorful. He married 8 times, including stars like Lana Turner and Ava Gardner.